Getting on to the international papers now. Elena's with us here on set. We've been talking about the Euro crisis all morning, haven't we? Italy coming under fire now in the European papers today is lack of budget discipline. How's it gone down in Italy itself?
Europe's decided to ditch Berlusconi, says La Repubblica. Now, that's a left-leaning paper that wouldn't normally have much sympathy for Il Cavaliere, but they say Italy's been sold down the river by other European nations who are threatened that the country is putting the whole Euro saving plan in jeopardy if they don't sort out their budget discipline. But La Repubblica says there's just nothing Italy can do. It's the victim of international economic market forces, and whatever plan they put forward, the problem today in Italy is a row going on between Berlusconi and his coalition partner, the right-wing Lega Nord, about whether or not the pension age should be raised to 67. But La Repubblica says whatever they agree, they're not going to make Brussels happy. If we have a look at their cartoon in the paper, they've got two people, one saying Sarkozy says the Eurozone's going to explode, and the other saying, well, in that case, they'd better not open Berlusconi's plan, leave it to the bomb disposal squad. So they know that's not going to go down well when Italy puts its proposals forward to the rest of Europe.
Lots of things not going down very well, actually. We've got the Italian press as well, feeling rather insulted by Sarkozy and Merkel at the moment.
Corriere della Sera, another Italian paper, very upset about that little smirk that we saw Sarkozy and Merkel have at the weekend when they were asked about Italy's economy. They say it just shows how arrogant the foreign leaders are. And again, they say Italy just can't be blamed for the amount of economic trouble it's got itself into. It can't be forced to impose even tougher austerity measures. And they say it's being used as a scapegoat for the rest of Europe.
Not the only foreign paper to attack the French president today, are they?
A posturing French pygmy. That's a headline in the Daily Mail. They also call Mr. Sarkozy a megalomaniac, and they accuse him of having a Napoleon complex and even say he's being emasculated by Angela Merkel. Now, of course, this is the Mail, which is a right-leaning tabloid who we know aren't huge fans of Europe in general. But this does go to show how Sarkozy's attitude on the international stage over this Euro crisis is going down badly all across the international stage. He's being portrayed as arrogant, trying to put forward France's point of view on the Euro issue, when, of course, France's own credit rating is in danger. They're not looking like a very economically credible source of recommendations for other people.
I'm sure he would love that description. Maybe not. Britain itself, the Occupy London camp, is causing controversy, isn't it?
Yes, here in the Times, they've sent out thermal imaging cameras to the camp that's been set up by protesters outside of St Paul's Cathedral. So you've got this rather blurry picture on the front page, which, according to them, proves that only 9 out of 10 of those tents are actually occupied during the night. Now, the Times, a right-wing paper, says that proves the anti-capitalist protesters aren't really dedicated to their cause. But inside in The Guardian, if we have a look at them, they say that only 9 out of 10 tents being occupied might actually be good news for the movement, because that proves the protesters are real people with real jobs and real lives to carry on. They're not lazy students. They don't have all day to lie around in tents. So they say this news might actually bring more ordinary people to back the Occupy cause.
Yeah, it's amazing where the lengths that the press go to, isn't it, to get their stories. The Washington Post, they're following up on the Occupy protesters over in DC, and they found some local allies, haven't they?
Yes, the homeless people who've lived for years in the camp that's now being occupied by those protesters down the road from the White House. They say they hope the protesters draw the attention to the lack of services they already have, and they're creating a sense of community and security when before those people were very much at risk. DC has a very high rate of homelessness with more than 6,000 people on the streets.
And the last story you're going to tell us about, a figure from the 2008 election campaign in the US is making a comeback.
Do you remember Joe the Plumber?
I do remember Joe the Plumber, yeah.
Yes, he, of course, asked President Obama a difficult question during the last campaign and was then adopted as a figurehead by the McCain campaign. He's now running for Congress himself, he's announced today. This is in USA Today. He says that the congressmen in the US are too much from an elite and they need ordinary people, working men, like plumbers, to represent the people. There is a slight problem, which is that he isn't actually a qualified plumber. That was a misrepresentation made at the first campaign. And his name's not actually Joe either. It's Samuel Wurzelbacher. But that hasn't stopped him making the most of his 15 minutes of fame. He's already published a book off the back of it, and now he's hoping he can get local people in Ohio to vote for him.
Fantastic. Samuel the non-plumber, the next president of the United States. Elena, thanks a lot. Elena there with the international papers here on France 24.